everybody, I'm Kat Morris, and I'm in the studio today. I want to show you about mixing paints and then pouring either onto slate, which we've got some prepared right here in the studio. And by the way, what you're seeing here is partial paint on there is earrings that I did pour previously. I didn't like them. So what I did was I rinsed them off while they were wet, and or I may have peeled the paint off. But anyway, we're going to give these another go. And they may like, I won't use all of these today. I'm going to do some black and white earrings. I'm running short of those. And you see we've got different sizes here. So I'll pick probably just, a couple out of each size to do. And then I've got the substrate that we do our skins onto. And this is actually a page protector. So that's what we're looking at there. But the first I want to show you how to mix the paints. This is a different step in the jewelry that's under glass than it is in slate, so I won't bother with the number. I'll just show you later. And then I'm going to take the mixing cup and we're going to let that zero that out right there. So now I know the cup weighs 0, and then everything that goes into it is something that I'm going to be able to weigh exactly. And what I do is I use a 3-to-1 Floetrol to Floetrol is I've got it filtered through this syrup bottle with some pantyhose. It's a paint extender that you can get in Home Depot, and it looks like this. And this is the Flood 6. Flood 6 right there. That's the one you want. And you always want to shake it. Nobody told me that. The first time I used it, all came out clear. I'm like, what? So anyway, that's what we're using, and you'll see it's kind of white in the syrup bottle, but I always keep it shook up real well in here, and then it is filtered through pantyhose because, paint and things like paint can get blobby. So, all right, so what we're going to do is we're going to measure out some paint. I'll be looking for something like 0.3. And right now I'm up to 26, 27 milliliters, and I'll just get that real as close as I can. There's 30, 31. Okay, so then what I want to add is 3 times that volume in the Floetrol to get the thin mix that I want for slate. I want it to flow readily for slate. So when you're doing canvases, you're going to mix it a little bit thicker. But when we're doing slate, I want it thick. So what I'm going to do is take this Floetrol, and of course I've marked it FLO, and I'm going to add 0.9, so then we'll have a total of 1.2 milliliters when I add enough. And so I'm getting real close to that, so I've got to be careful now. Weighing it out just gives me more consistent results. So what I want to do now is just take a popsicle stick and stir this up and see. Of course, I can't tell if it's stirred in white because white with white still looks white. But you'd be amazed how you can add all this stuff that looks white to paint of any color, and it's amazing how it doesn't change the color because it's just a paint additive. So this feels pretty good as far as the way it's flowing out like that, so I don't need to add any water. Some paints it's sort of required. So now we have our white paint, and we're going to do the same thing to the black paint. I'm going to get some of the slate, the little slate earrings here. We're done weighing, so I'll move the scale out of the way. And I've got freezer paper down here so that, if there's something interesting that ends up on the freezer paper later, I might actually be able to use it. So I'm going to put some pairs up here of some black, what will be black and white slate earrings, and, different sizes. Some of them are similar shapes. We'll try to get this other one that's more like this. Okay, so one of the fun parts now is to take a smaller cup, and I'm going to try a little bit of layering here with the black and the white, and we'll see what comes out. Right now I just want a pure black and white. And for some reason, white, the way that's density, it almost always seems like it's dominant. So I'll probably end up using quite a bit more. So what I'll do is, do this all at once and see if we can get something interesting going here. These little guys. Look at those cells already forming. Isn't that cool? But of course, I want both of these black and white ones to look like they go together. So you may have watched some of this in another video, but they need to look like they go together. So I'm going to see if I can, I'll start with one and see if I can get the other one to have something about it that's similar. So, you know, this one's got more of a white patch up there, so either I might just add some more black to that to make it like the second one. And then this one also has some more black on this end, so I may just add that and then let the paint kind of move on down. And now they may look more like cousins, although this one's still lacking some cells right there. So what I may do is grab some of this that seems to have some cell action going in it and see if I can get it to kind of move right there. Okay, so now I'm going to mix some paints for a pour. I've got for a skin. So I've got this plastic page protector down here because I like what happens when it dries. It kind of gives me some fluted and interesting edges. But what I'm going to do, this is just strictly going to be black and white, this first one. So I'm going to put the paints in the cup. And you look how that white just disappeared into that black. Wow. And so I'm going to layer them little by little and see what kind of interesting pour we can get by doing this, what we call a dirty pour. Okay, so here goes. I'm going to turn the cup upside down. Let it come out for a minute. Look at that, already cells forming. Look at that. Look at that cup, it's so cool. So what happens is, in a dirty pour, the colors mix almost immediately. So what I may do is run some black in here just to see if I can get something instant. And then what we'll do is what we call a clean pour after this. So what I'm going to do is move this paint around to where I'm getting something interesting. I just don't know if I'm going to get anything at all. I end up kind of moving in a lot of different directions. I'm going to grab what I had dumped out of the cup right there and maybe just move this part of it now just to see what's happening. There's a lot of paint kind of pooling right there. So I may go ahead and move it this way. I'm not really liking that little area right there anyway. And I'm going to pull it back. Wow, a gazillion cells in this one. So sometimes that makes for interesting jewelry, and sometimes it does not. So right now I'm going to be done with this one, and we're going to get another page protector here and try something different. So we're going to, I'll use the same cup for now. So I'm going to put the white in first this time, and then the black. In the cup, right? So we're going to try this other dirty pour, and I'm going to do what's called a jiggle pour and see if we get something interesting out of this. And it put a lot of paint in here because I don't know how this thing's going to come out. So we got some like tiger stripes happening there, but I like the fact that it is very black and very white. So I'm going to move that paint a little bit more. And so I don't like what's happening in here. It's just, I already know that's not going to make attractive jewelry. So this one, because it's got some weird areas, I'm going to go ahead. All right, so I'm back now with some glitter. Now, while the paint is wet, that's the time you want to add it. And you have to be really cautious with it. So what I'll do is just kind of barely wiggle my fingers in here. And some of these, what I consider to be kind of ugly areas. and see if the glitter can maybe improve some of that. And I need to be cautious not to get it over something else I think I might actually use. And so what I'm going to do is try that just that little bit in that one area. Over here on this other pour, I may try some in the areas that I think are kind of unsuccessful right now. But sometimes a little glitter takes a plain area and just does all kind of fun with it. So I'm just going to splash off the last of that glitter and there. And then I'm going to get my white glitter, which sometimes turns other colors on your pour. So we'll see what happens here. We're just playing. So this looks white, and let's see what happens when it comes in this little area here. I can already see it picking up a pink, and it's actually white, but it picks up greens. Let's go to the other pour, and we'll try some. Look at that, picking up green in there. It's interesting. And we'll just kind of do a broad, get it off my fingers that way, and see if that adds anything as it's drying. And then we're going to do a clean pour. We're going to put this up on a board so it has a nice flat surface to dry on. And then I'm going to do one where I'm going to pour the black and the white directly onto this plastic. So I'm going to put a little bit of white in here, and then I'm going to put black kind of interlaced over. Got a little bit too much there. And then I have this platinum paint. This is actually real platinum powder put into this paint, and I want to see what happens if I just kind of intermingle that just a little bit. What usually happens is the platinum gives a shimmer to everything, and it's usually fantastic. So as I start to mix the colors, let's see if anything interesting is happening with the cells. So you see, this is a much different kind of look.